right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Interesting morning out there, folks. How we doing? Good for traders. Gito, I appreciate. I totally agree, my friend. Totally agree. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Happy Monday. Monday. Crazy Monday. Crazy Monday. How we doing, folks? Morning, Margin. Morning, everyone. We shall see, Mike. We shall see. Morning, Vincent. Press that like button. That's right. All right. Margin call Monday. There you go. So a very interesting overnight move, down 2.2% on ES. Obviously, NASDAQ taking the brunt of this hit, about 4%. Dow Jones, 0.75%. So obviously that's the safe spot right now. And the IWM, the Russell, just about 1%. So the brunt of the hit, obviously, on the NASDAQ, which is the small, big cap tech, right? Obviously, the DeepSeek, news causing some concern on the sort of how much money is needed to do all the innovation that we talk about, right? That's sort of the thing at question. How much money, how much CapEx is required to build these future technologies? That's sort of the high level question mark, I would say, from getting all the information I have right now. The real question is there overspending being done, right? That's the question. Is there overspending being done? That's the core of it. I don't care, right? Take all the whatever companies out of the name, out of the question. The core of the question is there overspending being done? Can this be done cheaper, right? And if that is true, are valuations and needed, right, is future expenditures going to be less, right? And if that is true, then you would assume less money would come into these companies, less revenues, right, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the question. Now, I would recommend everyone out there to not react so quickly to answer that question, right? I would make sure you don't react to answering that question based off of information that you have not fully developed, right? We have an overnight we have a first read or first possibility of that through DeepSeek, right? DeepSeek is the reason why that question even comes in. Now, how good is it? How powerful is it, right? Some questions about it being China, right? Some questions, in my opinion, being that it's China-made, right? Will it be banned, right? What will the U.S. do to that, right? Will it cause a problem there with the CCP? I don't know, right? These are questions I can't answer. But I think these are at least things you think about, right, and answer yourself. I will not be the person answering that question because I do not know that answer. And I think it is very important for a lot of people out there to not jump to conclusions based off of information that you probably have read on Twitter, right, or X, or wherever you found this information, right? I think wait a second, right? Let something respond. Let a company respond. Let Sam Altman respond. Let someone that probably knows more about it respond than someone on YouTube, including me, right? Including me. Don't take my word for this, okay? I'm not taking anyone else's word for this. I'm not going to take some guy on Twitter's word for this that I don't know who it is and how smart they are. I can tell you, honestly, that I do not know enough about this to answer that question, right? So, for your investments and for your game plan here, I would not allow a Twitter post from someone online to make that judgment for you, okay? I think I recommend you get more information, right? I cannot make these large assumptions based off of a fancy a possible sort of, I don't want to call it smoke and mirrors, but it's the company that built it. Are they fully transparent in what they're saying? Is it fully true? How good is it, right? At the core of it, the idea is concerning, right, for some individual equities, right? The idea of it only costing X amount. Did it actually cost that much? Right? Are you trusting China to tell you the truth on that? I don't know. Okay? I'm just giving you the things to think about, right? The things to think about. So, let's see. I'm not distracted by that chat. I'm trying to get my words together properly because it's a very important thing, right? I'm trying to make sure I talk about this correctly. I'm trying to get my thoughts across as best I can this morning. More to be seen, right? More to be seen. And all it takes, right? Really all it takes, man, is someone that's not DeepSeek to respond to this, right? Maybe with their own. Maybe Meta is something that's very interesting. I've been reading that Meta has a very similar open source model. But the core question is there overspending, right? That could still be true, right? So is the product better? Probably not, right? Is it potentially cheaper? Possibly. I don't know yet, right? That's the question. So let's see, right? Let's see. This could be the best opportunity of the year. Absolutely, Kyle. It absolutely could. It absolutely could. Absolutely. There was a big drop on that. Remember that Japan yen drop on the market? That was a big opportunity. Pretty much every drop ever of this magnitude has been some kind of an opportunity, right? Could it go lower? Yeah, it could go lower. Will it be an opportunity in a year from now, 2 years from now? Hell yeah, right? Hell yeah. So, right, would I still be buying shares of quality companies? Absolutely. Right? And would I be doing that today? Absolutely, I will be doing that today. Could there be more short-term pain? That's also a big yes, right? That's also a big yes. We shall see. Is there also FOMC this week? Is there also large cap earnings? Yes, as well, right? So that's what makes it so interesting. Let's see, right? It's a wait and see move, right? That's really at the core of it what it is. It's a wait and see move. Here's my let's end it at this, right? Here's Desi's recommendation, okay? Let's end it at this, and let's go into our normal schedule. It is a wait-and-see move, right, that I would not jump to conclusions based off of uneducated opinions. That's the core of what I'm trying to say. There is no way that the magnitude of Twitter posts that I saw last night about this are coming from educated people on this topic. They are simply taking a headline from the company itself and trusting everything they say, right? That is not something that I will trust 100% right now, for now, okay? So that's that. That's my opinion. All right? Let's see, right? Let's see. So with that said, Monday morning, let's get after it. Let's get into the economic calendar. Let's get into the earnings calendar. And let's progress as we typically do. That is going to be the key as well, right? Don't change anything up. So, today, Tuesday or Monday, nothing really on the calendar here today. New home sales, nothing I would really be too worried about. I don't think this offsets anything that's going on out there today. So new home sales, 10 o'clock. I don't think that changed the direction of the market. I don't think that will take over the guide. I don't think this will run the market in a different direction based off new home sales. So really nothing I'm too interested in there today. Tomorrow, nothing too much. Home price index, consumer confidence. I don't think that's much, right, either. Now, Wednesday is where things get a little bit interesting, right? FOMC. So, what does FOMC do today or on Wednesday? What does the Federal Reserve do on Wednesday? That is a big question. There's a very high likelihood, I think it's close to 100%, that they do not cut rates. Nor do I think the market has priced in them cutting rates. Do they surprise cut rates? Probably not. I don't think I would bet on that. So, probably no actions there on Wednesday. I would assume more of what we already expect. We shall see there. Thursday, GDP, unemployment claims, and then Friday, PCE price index, unemployment cost index. Okay? So that's that. Really, the big event for the economic side is Wednesday. That's FOMC. So we have that on top of the DeepSeek panic overnight. Now, on top of that, there's even more, right? And that is the earnings calendar, which is very heavy this week. On top of all of this, we have a very heavy earnings calendar that could change some direction, right? It's very possible. So this week we have some big ones. We have ASML, big semiconductor name that will definitely be, give some semiconductors some direction, or at least an idea of where they could move based off ASML. We have Tesla. We have Meta. Meta possibly becoming one of the largest watches for all of this, right? With Zuckerberg talking about his investments being made. Possibly Meta becoming one of the top watches for, all this AI, LLM, et cetera, possibly in Meta becoming one of the top watches for that. So let's see. Does Meta respond to this? Right? Does Meta respond to this? I don't know. Does Zuckerberg have something to say? Probably not. I don't think he probably would be smart enough not to take a large stance here. But let's see what Meta has to say on Wednesday. Microsoft, also very big on Wednesday. Lam Research. Thursday, Apple, Intel, Visa. Friday, you have your Exxon, your Chevron, your AbbVie, and that's that. So, a lot of stuff going on. Let's trade the opportunity. Let's trade the volatility. And really, let's trade the levels, right? So, let's go ahead and jump into the levels. And let's talk about what level is showing up today on the NASDAQ futures. And this brings up the question once again, right? It's funny how these catalysts come in around major supply levels, right? So right here on the NASDAQ futures last week, we closed the week with a rejection of this major 22,100 level, right? And this was really where I took off a lot of my risk into. I was a little bit upset about it into Friday, right? But you guys heard me on the live stream on Thursday. I was selling a lot of my longs into this move. And on Thursday, I was a little upset about it because we started to see upside come back in. And I thought maybe, hey, maybe I just got sort of scared out of these positions. And maybe I made the wrong decision. It seems as though I made the right decision. I did open an NVIDIA trade on Friday, which will obviously be extremely red today. So that's that, right? I'm fully transparent about that. I don't know what I'll lose. Maybe 10K. Something around there is, I think, what I'll be down. Probably close to, I would assume, like 60%, 70%. I have about 13,000 in the position. So I will be red on that. Full transparency. I bought NVIDIA calls on Friday, and I'm now experiencing the largest one-day drop on NVIDIA in the history of the stock. So that's funny, right? I mean, all I could really do is laugh about that. I really don't know what to say about that. I saw the 140 potential hold on NVIDIA. Did I know this was going to happen over the weekend? No. Did I risk an amount that I'm comfortable with losing? Yes. Is that the key of it all? Yes. Can I come back from that loss? Yes. And that's always That's the key, right? That is once again showing you position sizing being so important. So, yep, I think I made because I had about $100,000 in Meta. I think I had another $50,000 in Amazon, right? So I had some big risk pushing into this 22,100, right? Which I sold on Wednesday into Thursday. Was upset about it Thursday, but ultimately I think I made the right decision on that idea, right? On that idea. So that was good. I'm happy about that, and that gives me the ability to really look at what's going on here today. Heavy in cash, time to take some opportunity. The opportunity and the pullback that we've all been sort of looking for, right? The opportunity and pullback that every trader has been sort of saying, we need a pullback. We need a pullback, right? Well, here it is, right? Here it is. So let's lock in and see what goes on today. So here we can see 20,700, right? 20,700 was the previous low there. If you guys remember from the last CPI, 20,700 was where this upside all started to come in from. Right there, right? From 20,700 to 22,000 was the push to the upside. Now, we have given back about a week and a half of price action overnight. We pushed all the way down into the 20,700 demand, which very strongly held here in the overnight session. Now, the level above 20,700 is 21,000 flat. 21,000 flat is this previous low. It's this previous low. It's this previous low. It's these consolidation sort of lows. And you can see today, if we go to the short-term time frame, that is also the 100 SMA, and that is right here. So we can see that we dropped aggressively, right, down into that 20,700. We bounced off that 20,700, and we reclaimed above 21,000 on the NASDAQ futures. And so for me, right, in terms of these levels, I would understand that, hey, you just dropped into these major demand lows, right, which were previous rejections here, very strong holds here, very strong holds here, very strong holds here, very strong holds here, and we are seeing that wick out of that zone again today. Is that an opportunity? In terms of technicals, I would say it is absolutely worth watching, right, without a doubt. Now, of course, we'll have to see how the macro side of this move, what happens on the macro side of this market. Could these downside demands be invalidated? Yes, right? But for now, are these downside demands stepping up? That answer is also yes. That is 20,700. That is 21,000 on the NASDAQ futures. That is the 100 SMA on the NASDAQ futures. If we zoom out, the 100 SMA on the NASDAQ futures has been historically a very interesting spot to watch for opportunity, right? Does it break? I don't know. But should we be watching that as a potential hold point? Absolutely. And would I be looking to short into that level today? Probably not after being down 4%. Probably not after being down 4%. Now, if you swung puts over the weekend, right? Great, right? Boom, baby. Love it. Do I think there's a reason to short down into these levels here? Probably not. Now, that does not mean that there are not levels above that you could look to fade, right? That is the question mark today. Is there levels? Are the levels above fading levels? Are the levels above spots to look for the pop and fade today? The major pop and fade that I think you would look for today, the one that I think would be the strongest and the most likely to reject, is right here. 21,460 to 21,560. That zone right there would be my area that I would assume rejections come in. That is these previous highs, right? That is these previous lows. That is these previous lows in the short term. And if I zoom in, you can see right here, that would be right back here, right? Back to the 20 and 50 SMA, right here. That would be my assumption to where you could look for the fade if that does play. This would be my spot. 20 SMA, 50 SMA, 21,460, 21,560. That is the fade spot that I would watch today, right? Allow this market to recover, see how strong it is, and see if there starts to become weakness here again. That would be something I would watch. Now, unfortunately, there is a situation here where the long is totally gone by the time this market opens, and that would be an unfortunate, right? No, I mean, I guess not unfortunate. Maybe that's saving to some, right? I think it is possible that this long that maybe some people wanted off the 100 SMA or down off 20,700 is sort of gone by the time the market opens. Does the market open close to this 460, 560 area? And do we start to see the fade near the open? Very possible. Okay? Now, what level do I see here before this 20,460, 560 zone? It's right here around this 21,200. And this was a level we watched previously. So right here, you guys can see 21,200, 21,200, 21,200, 21,200, 200, 200, 200, and here we are again. So, do we see fades at 21,200? That's something to watch, or do we reclaim that level? Right? That would be the morning watch here right now, right? Right as we speak on this market, that's the level that's in focus. 21,200 on the NASDAQ futures is a very clear spot that I think will really decide whether this continues today, right, up into this 460, or if we fail here, you will trade back down to the 100 SMA. If you break that, you're trading back down to 20,700. And if you break that, there's not much below, right? Let's zoom out real quick. And let me tell you where I think it's a market breaker, right, in the short term. A market, a breaking move on the short term is under 20,700. Under 20,700, I think you would absolutely drop to this 20,200 area and this 200 SMA. That's where I think the next big breaker comes in, right? Sort of the market backbreaker comes in under 20,700. That's under this previous low. That's under these lows here from back in November. November into December was 20,700. So until you break that 20,700, I would make sure you remember one thing, and that is that this is still a channel, okay? Believe it or not, right? Until you break this 20,700 right here, this is still a channel. It's still a structure. If you break below that 20,700, I think that is a very, very, very important break. And that, my friends, is where I think you would get more selling. Under that level, probably the 200 SMA, and you would probably see a very large increase in selling pressure under that 20,700. Okay? So, today, what will I be watching? First, I will be watching what happens at 21,200. Do we reject that today? That's the first question. If we do, I would assume you trade back to 21,000. If you break that, back to 20,700. If you get over 21,200 and you hold above this level today, I would assume that you trade back up into this supply here. 21,460, 20 and 50 SMA. This being the next potential rejection point. Okay? Now, where does this totally get brushed off, right? And I'm not saying that that's going to happen today. I think that's probably a very low possibility. But where does this totally get brushed off? Over 21,560, I think you would totally brush off this move. If you get back above these last week's lows here at 21,560, I think you would totally brush off this just drop. Do I think that happens today? Probably not, right? That would be obnoxious. But that's at least the spot that I would be watching to see what happens. 21,560, 21,460. That's your next big rejection point if it wants to become a lower high on the market, right? A lower high on the market would set up right here at 460, 560. And the daily 20, daily 50. All right? That's the QQQ. Here's the or that's the NASDAQ. Here's the QQQ. That's not a real candle, so don't think that is. Man, that candle's gonna mess with me now. I can edit this candle. Let me remove this candle. Actually, I'm just gonna remove this. By the way, you guys can do this. I don't know if you know this. You can correct this candle. You can just remove it. It's not right. That's just not a correct candle. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it. Just so you know. All right, you can see right there. You can do that. Why is it still there? Oh, because it's on a wick on the 5-minute. Damn it. All right. Well, on the 5 minutes, not there. When we go out to the 30-minute, it's just a wick on the 30-minute. So I'm not going to remove that candle because I don't want to remove a whole 30-minute candle there. But I hate how TOS does that sometimes. Let's zoom out. So right here, you guys can see what the QQQ has come down into, right? Here's our QQQ chart. This is the chart we've been sort of watching. And we can see that we have traded back down into our 504, 506 zone, right? 504, 506. Yeah, I can adjust the wick, the high. I just don't know what to adjust it to, right? That's the problem. Well, I guess I can adjust it to the current candle, the body of the... Oh. We're getting a lot of volatility here. Holy shit. I'm just going to wait this out. Let's let the chart do its thing. A lot of volatility on that. I don't even know if that's a real candle either. All right. So here's what I would be watching. Let's just continue. Let's ignore that the wild candles going on here. Here's what I would be watching right here. You guys can see this 504, 505, 504 zone. It hasn't been like a perfect zone, but I'm going to go ahead and put it at 504 for now. Go ahead and pop that at 504 for the moment. You guys can see right here on the daily, on the 4-hour chart, this previous major high. See that? That's $504 per share. Right? That's $504 per share. Right there. Previous all-time high in the QQQ. Now that we've established that, let's go into the hourly chart. 504 was the previous all-time high in the QQQ. Here is the hourly chart at 504 over the last, since December, right? Middle of December. Right there. 504 and the 100 SMA. This is your spot. No doubt. This is your spot. 504, you can maybe throw it down to that 503, right, to encompass, or to encompass this low, maybe down to 500, right, to encompass that little low down there, right? You can see right here, this low right here. So I would say this zone, 500 to 504, previous major low, previous major low, previous major lows, and here is your low that came in today. I would say that if the QQQ breaks the 100 SMA and breaks 500, then you are absolutely seeing downside continuation. That it would be very clear in terms of the levels here. Under the 100 SMA, under this 500 low, and back under that all-time high of 504, I think you would very clearly say downside continuation. Okay? So that's number one. Just understand how big that level is there on the short term. Now, to the upside. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. To the upside. What levels do we need to watch for potential failures to the upside? Number one, I would say, is 515. It's anywhere from like 515 to 516. It's a little bit of a dollar range here that I've had. 516 right here, 516 right here, and 516 is sort of that rejection that came in last night. That would be the first spot that I could see potential failures. That level also being, by the way, right? That level also being, by the way, on the 4-hour chart, this major previous high. Look at this. See that? 516. Where is that on the NASDAQ futures? Look at that, guys. That is your 21,460, 21,560 zone. That was sort of our pop and fade potential watch off these highs. That would be your 516 spot on the QQQ. That is very interesting, right? So That would be my first fading spot to watch today, guys, is 516. If we start to see fades under this level, that could lead to the downside continuation, and that would be your spot to look for the short, right? 516. You would also be able to trust that you'd maybe get some rejections near this 20 and 50 SMA, which I think is very possible. And then above that, you have this 520.50, right? So you have the 20 and 50 SMA here. You have the 516 previous highs, right? But I would make sure you line that up and you watch the NASDAQ as well, right? Near this zone here, right? Maybe the NASDAQ needs to get back to that zone, okay? So today on the Qs, I will be very careful of shorting into this 504, 506 previous all-time high zone, the 100 SMA as well. I would be very cautious there, and I would require higher levels to look for fades, one of those being 516, possibly one of those being 520, right? And watching the 20 and 50 SMA here, sort of monitoring price action as it gets into this zone, right? How does price action start to look as it gets into this zone? Do we start to see a sort of curl back over at this 516, 520 area, right? That's definitely something to watch. Now, if the QQQ gets back over 520.50 today, which I don't think it will, right? But that is something you watch. If that happens, then I think you are probably going to fill this gap down right back into that 528, and that would be a very big recovery. Do I think that happens today? I'm unsure of that, but that is the level, 520.50. All right? S&P 500, 100 SMA. That is your spot today. That rhymes. So let's go ahead and zoom this out and get these levels here on the ES. You know what? Actually, let's go to the hourly chart because I think this actually shows it pretty well. So right here on the ES, guys, you have this 59.50 spot. 59.50 on the ES. 59.50, 59.55. I'm going to call it 59.50. Right here, 59.50. Right here, 59.50. Right here, 59.50. And if we zoom out, you'll see more instances of that 59.50. Now, also at that 59.50 on the ES is what? It's the daily 100 SMA, which is exactly where you wicked higher. 59.50. That is a big spot. Now, if you fail back under that 59.50, if you lose the 100 SMA, you are going lower to fill a gap to 59.15. This is a gap right here. I have a gap below. Below that 59.50, you have a gap to fill to 59.15. So if you want to look for that fail the 100 SMA today, that is what I would watch. Under that, you'd gap fill to 59.15. Under that, you'd move to 58.75. Now, I don't want to bring this up again. Actually, you know what? I do want to bring this up again because I want you guys to understand and make sure you zoom out on this market. Okay? I do. There is some short-term concern, but I want to make sure you zoom out on this market for just a second. This is your channel that has been very clearly shown on this market. You have a channel high at 61.85 all-time highs, right? That has now been very verified, right, with this current rejection. But you also have 5,800 still, right? And so I would be very careful jumping to major conclusions about the next direction of this market if we are still above 5,800 on the ES. Because technically, this is nothing but a channel still, right? And so you would have to break under 5,800, right? And the 200 SMA now, right here, which is going to catch up to that 5,800 level in the next few days, you would need to really flush below this to make me think that you are in a very bearish market, right? Under 5,800, under the 200 SMA would absolutely be the start of the meltdown, right? That would be a very, very concerning break at 5,800 and the 200 SMA. So when you zoom out here, right, this is still a very channel-like trade that has not broken any kind of major structure low. That right there was our CPI long, if you guys remember. This was the long that I took on CPI at 5,800 that made me a lot of money. So we are still above that level, and I would still be focused on the fact that we are, still above that level, right? If we break below that, that would be the major breaker on the market. Major structure low, 5,800. For now, you are holding above that 5,950, and your interest in what you're watching today, in my opinion, is do you hold over 6,000? Does the ES hold back above 6,000? Does the ES hold back above the daily 20 SMA? If the ES builds a low above the daily 20 SMA today, I would assume you trade into 60.50 again. And if you trade into 60.50 again and the 60.70, this zone right here, this would be my fade spot. Okay? This would be where I'd look to fade the market if you start to see rejections at the 60.50, 60.70 zone. That looks like the right spot. That is the 50 SMA, and that is these very clear previous highs. And if we zoom out here, right, look at this. Right here. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right here. 60.50, 60.70 zone. That would be the spot I'd look to fade, right? Maybe with a stop loss over 70. I think that is a very clear watch today. I would be careful fading into the daily 20. I'd be careful fading into the 100 SMA. I'd let those push higher and push into this higher supply level here before I look for that short entry. That's what I would be looking for today if you're looking for the short side. Either that or a fail back under 6,000 could sort of signify some weakness to come in, right? Back under 6,000, that would sort of push you back down to the 5,950. Okay? That's it. You can keep that 60.35 there, Enrico. Yeah, you have this little 60.35 here, but I think it's probably more likely that the best entry's sort of at that 60.50, in my opinion, unless you fade back under 6,000, right? If you fade back under 6,000 today, then you probably see that weakness come in again, right? If you start to see this under 6,000, then you start to see the weakness come in again, likely back down to the 100 SMA. Okay? SPY. So the SPY looks to be rejecting one of our zones right now. And it's funny that the SPY actually is holding our major gap level, which is very interesting. Look at this. So here on the hourly chart on the SPY, this was our gap. If you guys remember, we had this gray zone on our SPY chart. Look at that, right? That was our 590 to 585 gap. That's right here. So do we still need to fill that gap? That is potential. I would look for a break under 590 to facilitate the downside gap fill to 585. Okay? 590 right there is a big spot on the SPY. Right? Look at that right there. That's where you're holding right now. 590 on SPY. Now, to the upside, this is your rejection zone. 596 to 598. That is very, very interesting. 596 to 598. This is these previous lows here. These are these highs here. These are these highs here. These are these lows here. And if we zoom out, all right, let's zoom out for a second. Take a look at this, guys. Look how big this previous zone was, right? Holds here, rejections here, holds here, right? And we are trading back into that area. If we get back over 598, then you would trade back into these highs at 602, 602.50, which is where you really started to see the downside come in, right? Once we broke that 602, 602.50 last night, right here, you really dropped, right? You really dropped. That was under these lows, under these highs. Look what happened after you failed that level. Bam, straight down. So, straight down, possibly straight back up. This would be a very, very important rejection. At 602, 602.50, that would be like the monster possible rejection right here. Bam, previous lows. That would be something you definitely watch if we get back into it. Okay? For now, it's possible that we're just going to fail the 596, 598, right? Which is where you're trading into right now. That is going to be a very important zone to watch. You're sitting right at it. You're sitting right at it. If you get back above that 598 today, I think you will get your pop to that 602, 602.50, right? And you can see, look what happened here on the 5-minute chart when you broke that. See this? Right here, when you broke that level overnight, flush, right? So that is very possibly the next fade point to watch out for, all right? All right, now let's jump into the Dow Jones real quick. Dow Jones being the least affected, right, because of sort of flight to safety. Dow Jones very much still a strong market here, right? No doubt about it. You can see, right, we'll see how it reacts ultimately to, downside pressures across the market. But it looks like right now to me that if we draw this line out here, extend this to the, oh, I didn't want to do that. That's not what I wanted. God damn it. What did I even press? Right here, around 44,050 is these previous highs. It's this little low here that really helped this higher. Some minor rejections in the short term, which squeezed back above. Some fails back below here. And then the 50 SMA that's holding right now. All right, so if we look at this Dow Jones, look at this right here. 44,050 on the Dow Jones, actually quite a strong level. And if we look at this Dow Jones, a very quality pullback, in my opinion, still here on the Dow Jones. A very structured and very calm pullback. Really, probably more like 44,000 flat. There's your 44,000 flat right there. 44K, 44K, right? I still like that Dow possibility to hold that 50 SMA there. I would be paying attention to that. Possibly some Dow performance, little flight to safety after some panic on the tech names. Something to watch. Below that, 43.7. Below that, 43.250. IWM did fail our 230.50 spot, but we knew that. We're not surprised by that. That's actually a very clear rejection that came in. IWM actually fending off this drop relatively well this morning. I would be watching that 227.50 spot right here. 227.50. That would be the spot I watch right here. You can see it's rejecting right now. If you get back above that, then IWM trades right back into this channel. And really nothing has happened. Okay? And the one that's most interesting, the SMH. Man, right back down. I mean, the SMH is in some nutty channel here. Man, could have traded this channel again. And what a downside came in over the weekend. So, the SMH trades up into that 270 supply, fails back under that 261 area, 260 area. Let's call it, I think it's like 260, 250. You can see right here, bam, fail back under, right back down the channel lows. So, this is really the zone that you're watching on the SMH. I think it's anywhere from 240 to 234 is really that zone that you're watching now on the SMH. Major lows, major lows, major lows, major lows, 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 right? And here we are again. What does the SMH do in this zone once again, right? That's really going to be the watch. Does the SMH find any type of hold in this zone below? For now it is, but we need to see a lot more. We need to see a lot more before we trust that. Let's see if it can reclaim some of these SMAs. Look how clean these SMAs are lined up here. Very interesting. 240 to 234 zone. That is a major spot down there on the SMH. Let's keep an eye on it. All right. 3,700 people here. Holy shit. Welcome. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get into Tesla. So, Tesla. Interesting. So the level that I think we all want to see Tesla at, personally, I think the level we all really want to see Tesla at is 360. I really think that's the level that a lot of people are waiting on. And you can see right here, 360, 360. We never really gotten back to that level yet, right? We've gotten down to like 373, 380, but we haven't gotten back down to these very clear previous level top highs, turning that into a low. We have not seen that yet. Now, is it possible we get that now? I think it is, but for now, we can see that we're not giving up this low yet, right? Tesla held this low actually quite well. 373 to 380 zone, you can see these previous lows. Look at the hold coming in again, right? And so, right? Are we going to get that drop prior to earnings? I don't know. If Tesla earnings are really good, I don't see why a DeepSeek panic attack on the market hurts this trade. If Tesla earnings are good, if their vehicle sales are high, if their energy storage is high, right, which is one of their more bullish things going on. If there is maybe something, whatever, right? Let's say the market perceives the information as bullish. I do not see why a DeepSeek overnight drop that you are seeing in this market should affect Tesla. Let's see. All right, I'm not saying that you should play through the earnings. I will not be doing that myself. Am I concerned about Tesla here because of this news? Not really. Is it a nice little reactionary drop into key demand? Yes. Let's see what happens here today. Let's watch 400, right? That looks to be the key spot. 400, 420, and 440 look to be your key spots. Can Tesla reclaim 400? That will be my watch today. Can Tesla reclaim 400? If Tesla gets back above those highs and turns them back into lows, then Tesla trades right back into 420. And this whole drop sort of gets, it's gone, right? So I would watch 400. If you reject 400 today, I would look for the fades back down into 380, back down into 373. If you break the 373 here, you will get your 360 downside, okay? So watch that 400. Watch that 400 on Tesla today. All right, let's get into some semiconductors because this is where we're going to really focus on. We're going to go quickly through just the semiconductors today. Let's get into some of these. NVIDIA, big drop, major drop, right? Right off that 150, huge smackdown off the all-time high 150 spot, slicing through all major demands down into the 124, which is right here. 124, 124, 124, and the 200 SMA. Will I panic and not buy NVIDIA shares at the 200 SMA? No. I will 100% be buying NVIDIA shares today at the 200 SMA. That is just something I will do. I don't care how long it goes down for. That is something I will do. All right? That's just simply how I look at this. If I'm going to get NVIDIA at the 200 SMA, then I will be interested in dabbling some shares. I will not buy shares to the point of me going broke, right? Because that's never a good idea. But we have not seen NVIDIA go down to the 200 SMA for I don't even know how long. I mean, it has not been since 2022 that you have gotten NVIDIA back to its 200 daily moving average. Haven't gotten it once. Not once over the last 2 years. The fact that we just traded down to that 124 spot and that 200 SMA in an overnight panic is absolutely somewhere that I would be buying some shares for the long-term portfolio. So that's something I'll be doing today. 124, big spot there along the 200 SMA. Definitely an interesting zone. I would be watching that. Right here, 130, right? 130. That's the spot I'd watch to see if there is a reclaim on NVIDIA. That would be a very important reclaim on NVIDIA. 130. 130. Above that, 134. So 130, 134 are your two spots above, right? Watch out for those pops and fades, very possible. Over 134, you trade back to 140. Okay, so here's your next three levels to watch. Put them on your charts. 130, 134, 100 SMA, 140, 20, and 50 SMA. Major 124 demand alongside the 200 SMA below. AMD. So AMD dropped, but it didn't make a new low. AMD created an equal low here around that 114, 115. Watch this 118, watch this 120. Okay, 118, 120, right there, watch that, 123. Okay, 123, 120, 118. Let's go to Broadcom. Broadcom. Holding the must-hold level. The must-hold level on Broadcom is 211.11. Why do I say that that is a must-hold level? That is the most important level you could be watching today on Broadcom. 211.11. Why do I bring that level up? That is the low here from the day after earnings. If you were to break this 211.11 level, you have nothing but a gap fill down into 186, which is a big gap. So what is Broadcom holding today? Well, it's holding that exact low, right? You can see right here, Broadcom has wicked off that low, and you're starting to get the push higher. What level does Broadcom need to get back over before I think it actually does recover? I think 220, right here. I think you need to get back over this 220 zone. If you do, I think you can sort of navigate your way back and recover, but you must hold this 211.11 spot. You can see that is the exact low that came in today, pretty much right down there. You got to get back over 220 in my opinion, or this is a pop and fade potential. I think you have to get back over these lows right here, 220. Watch that. Qualcomm, I don't know why this is green today. If anyone knows, please let me know in the chat. But Qualcomm, very strong recovery. However, Qualcomm needs to still get above a key level for me to even be interested here. Qualcomm needs to get over this 176 and this 200 SMA. So I would watch that. For some reason, Qualcomm in the green today. MU dropping off the data as well, or off the DeepSeek information as well. 95 is your spot today. 95. Look to see if 95, anywhere from 95 to around 94 has been a very key demand. Watch to see if that holds. You break that, you're going to 85 again. Let's go to Meta real quick. Meta, absolutely insane level at 607 in the 20 SMA. Absolutely insane level. Right here. Right there, 607. Look at that level again on Meta. And Nutty bounced off that level already. Meta pretty much right back into all-time highs. Meta is absolutely the strongest stock in the market right now. In terms of tech. This thing has had some brute force behind it right into earnings, and that drop into 607 looks to have been a gift if you are trading it pre-market. If Meta can maintain itself back over 620, 624, then you are right back into all-time highs like nothing ever happened. I would watch 637 as a very potential fade spot, as it is already fading that spot. But I would pay attention to how it holds this 620, and if it gets back down towards that 607, I would absolutely be paying attention to it. Amazon, strong recovery already, right? Another strong stock that is giving you a pullback right into a major demand that's holding again, right? Amazon pushed right down into our 220 demand in that 50 SMA. Look at the reaction off that level, right? Amazon already holding that 220 demand, actually reclaiming 225 as well, and the daily 20 SMA. So what would I watch today on Amazon? I would watch 225. I would watch 220. I would also watch the rejection possibility at 230. Right? Very clear. Watch Amazon 225 and the daily 20 SMA. Very nice. Google, 194. You guys can see right here. Google, really not much to be concerned about in my opinion on this chart. 194, 190, status quo, trade as usual. Look for pullback longs 190. Look to see if 194 holds. Possible rejections as always at 199 now. Very clear. CRM, got to get back over 336.50 in the 50 SMA. That's very clear. CrowdStrike needs to get back over this 370 supply or possible rejections. Apple holding the daily 200 SMA. You have Apple and NVIDIA. Just, guys, I don't want to, I'm not trying to get you all excited about opportunity that arises, guys. But I will tell you, and I will leave this. This will be the last thing I say in this live stream. I will tell you that I have been through these types of days more than probably most, unless you're older than me and you have been trading for a very long time. And I think if you have been, you would agree with me. This morning, the feeling that you have, the emotion going on around the markets, you have Apple and NVIDIA at the 200 SMA, right? A institutional buying level that is very, very important. You have the fear and panic that's going on. I would assume that everyone that's been trading for long enough would 100% agree that in a year from now, in 2 years from now, you will be absolutely pleased that you went ahead and started to take some positions, take some shares, invest in your long term after a 10, 15% downside on major tech. I don't know, right? Unless the market and the world just starts to crumble apart and China takes over the world because they created some DeepSeek product, right? Unless that's what you think, right? If you think that China has now taken over the world and this DeepSeek product has totally made every major cap tech stock invaluable or totally valueless, then don't buy it, right? But if you think that this passes and our companies continue to be strong and the markets go back to how they were, right? And this one day sort of volatility event passes by in a year from now, then I would highly recommend that you stay structured, you stay confident, and you look to buy some shares, right? That's my recommendation. That's my recommendation. Microsoft 410. 410, 428. Right here. 410 major demand, 428 supply. Got to get back over 428, Julian. All right, guys, that's all I have. I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Be safe out there. Again, I want to also recommend to you guys, you do not need to react to this today, right? You do not need to feel like you need to react to this today, okay? This can be something you react to maybe later this week, maybe next week. Maybe you let a week of consolidation or sort of, craziness pass by. Maybe you let the, Melissa, I got you today. Monday, everything's going out today. Maybe you let earnings pass by, you let FOMC pass by, you let this crazy DeepSeek stuff pass by, and you just wake up next week and you take advantage. That's very possible. Maybe that's the right call, right? Up to you. How aggressive do you want to get? That's up to you. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel before you head out. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. I hope it helped you guide your day today. And trust me, my friends, everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. I promise. Peace and love.